Rest feels illegal to you because somewhere along the way, your body stopped seeing stillness as safety. You sit down on a free afternoon, reach for your phone out of reflex, scroll for a few seconds, put it down, pick it back up, open your email, check your calendar, stare at nothing, and feel that low-grade panic crawl up your chest like you forgot something important. But there is nothing urgent, nothing is on fire, the day is empty. That's the problem. An empty day should feel like space. To your nervous system, it feels like exposure. So you start bargaining with yourself. Maybe I should at least clean the kitchen. Maybe answer a few messages. Maybe organize my week. Maybe watch something educational so the laziness becomes self-improvement in a nicer outfit. You call it being responsible. Your body calls it survival. Because this isn't really about productivity, it's about worth. You were trained slowly and cleanly to feel real only when you are useful. Useful employee, useful partner, useful friend, useful child, useful person with a plan, a goal, a routine, a stacked calendar, a reason to justify taking up space. Existing quietly started to feel suspicious, like a shop alarm going off in your chest every time you try to leave the day without buying something from it. That's why rest doesn't feel soft, it feels stolen. And none of this means you're weak. It does not mean you're broken. It does not mean you secretly love stress. It means your brain adapted to a world that rewards output faster than it rewards sanity. Research suggests the mind will keep choosing familiar tension over unfamiliar peace, even when the tension is exhausting, because predictability feels safer than freedom. That's why you can be tired all week. Fantasize about doing absolutely nothing, then finally get the chance and immediately feel restless, guilty, almost dirty, like your value meter dropped the second you stopped moving. Modern life is brilliant at creating this. The unread Slack message, the laptop sitting there like a silent witness, the fitness app reminding you that even your heartbeat should be optimized, the therapy language you use on yourself like corporate wallpaper. I'm just trying to stay regulated. No, half the time you're trying to stay occupied because stillness puts you in the same room as yourself without the costume. And that meeting is expensive. A lot of people think the productivity trap is just external pressure. Bosses, rent, competition, the economy, the general smell of collapse in the air. That's part of it, but the deeper layer is uglier. You don't just fear falling behind, you fear disappearing. Because if your identity is built out of replies, achievements, errands, progress, and visible effort, rest feels like someone unplugged the machine that proves you exist. The silence gets loud. You start hearing thoughts you've been outrunning for months. The relationship you know is thinning out. The career you keep dressing up but no longer respect. The fact that your personality has slowly been replaced by coping mechanisms with nice fonts. That is why some people would rather drown in tasks than sit in a quiet room for one honest hour. Busyness is not always ambition. Sometimes it's camouflage. Watch what happens on your day off. You wake up and immediately create a fake emergency. Laundry, inbox, grocery run, budget spreadsheet, 10 tabs open. A podcast playing while you brush your teeth so your own mind never gets the microphone. By noon you feel depleted but weirdly relieved. You have generated proof. The day can't accuse you anymore. That's the trap. You were supposed to rest, but instead you turned your free time into unpaid management of your own existence. You became the middle manager of your soul. Constant check-ins, constant metrics, constant performance review. Even your peace has KPIs. And the cruel part is that everyone claps for this. They call you driven, disciplined, on top of things. Nobody sees that your inner life is panting. The system does not need chains when it can make you police yourself. It doesn't need to scream at you. It just needs to teach you that being still is being left behind. So you carry the office in your bloodstream. You close the laptop, but the meeting stays in your muscles. You leave work, but work keeps renting space in your identity like mold behind the walls. Then guilt becomes your fake compass. If you feel guilty, you assume you must be avoiding something important, so you obey it. You move, you optimize, you improve. You fill the silence with little acts of usefulness until the day looks respectable again. But guilt is not always truth. Sometimes it's just old programming wearing your voice. A free day revealing your panic is not proof that you need more discipline. It is proof that your body has been taught to associate rest with danger and stillness with worthlessness. That's not a moral failure, that's conditioning. And conditioning can be noticed. One shift is brutally simple. Stop treating rest like a reward you earn after becoming a flawless machine. That logic never ends. There is always one more email, one more task, one more thing to fix before you are allowed to stop. Rest that only happens after perfection is not rest. It's a mirage. In real life, that means the Saturday afternoon where the kitchen is still messy, your inbox still has red dots, and you sit in the park anyway. Not because everything is done, because you are. Another shift is noticing the difference between recovery and sedation. A lot of what you call rest is just numbing with better branding. 4 hours of doom scrolling is not rest. It's like feeding your nervous system vending machine dust and wondering why it still feels hungry. Real rest has a little oxygen in it. A walk without headphones, cooking one meal slowly, lying on the couch without stacking 3 screens on your face. Not because these are magical rituals, because they let your body learn that being alive is not the same thing as performing aliveness. And one more thing matters more than people admit. Build tiny moments where you are useless on purpose, not forever, not in some fantasy cabin life, right in the middle of modern life. Drink your coffee without turning it into content. Leave one message unanswered for an hour. Sit by the window without converting the moment into a lesson, a system, a post, or a productivity trick. These moments look small, but they are a rebellion. They tell your body a new story. I can exist without producing evidence. That story feels uncomfortable at first. Of course it does. A cage feels safer than open land when you've lived in it long enough. The panic you feel while resting is not random. It is the sound of an identity built on usefulness, meeting a human being who is tired of auditioning for the right to exist. And maybe that is the real exhaustion underneath all of this. Not work itself, not even pressure. The endless performance of being a person who deserves their own life. So when the free day comes and that familiar guilt starts knocking, notice what it's really asking from you. Not productivity, proof. And the ugliest part is how often you've handed it over. What's one thing you do the moment you finally have time to rest that instantly turns your day back into work?